budget purposes. That's why we're here. Roll call. Kathy?
Here.
Becca Raven?
Here.
Melissa Bandel here. And Katie Ryman's present as well. Item 3, public comment for finance.
I didn't write it, put anything down. Yeah, I just want to just ask the committee and the board, comments that Melissa, you made at a recent board meeting about the fire department handling money, things like that, very, very discouraging. And this leads me to the fact that, or not to the fact, but to the hope that you're very concerned because of the money that was built up for a fire engine. And I ask that the committee recommends to the village and the village's part of that money stays there. That's very important to have that money in the fire department, and I hope it stays. Thank you.
All right. Do you have public comment as well?
No.
Okay. Item 4, finance, and 4A is we're here to work on the budget. All right. It's gotten started for us. So I prefer to just take it top all the way down. That's how we've done it in Skidsteer. That's what I'd like to do. So up at the top.
Can I ask a question, Melissa? Do we have, because you're all on me, so I don't know what has generated many of these things and, what's our plan? Do we have a 5-year plan that we're trying to target and accomplish? Because I would think some of these things would be going towards some sort of
The capital accounts, if they're capital in nature, where we're saving money towards something, we notate typically how much accumulated in the account in her description column. And then she provides us, she has the 2023 actual, the 2024 year-to-date. And so you look for consistency with prior numbers in budgeting. So we have a limit on what we can levy out to our people. And so she gave us our target expense restraint. We have 2.98% or less that we can increase.
We have MSA today, 5-year plan to that's a couple years old. Mostly for water and sewer. Streets out there.
Yes.
Okay. So is it possible that we have that kind of information kind of laid out? Because like you've been doing this how many years? Right? I mean, even before you came back last term and I got reinstated and all this stuff, like you know this stuff, but I don't need from town or any of this stuff. And so when you're throwing out that 2.9%, I don't really know what you're talking about.
It's for the expenditure restraint money. So you'll see the shared revenue, the 18,549. You have to be less than 2.90% or less.
Okay, but can that be written out so that there's something to refer back to? You're throwing it out there, Denise, because you're familiar with all of this. I'm still trying to find where you're referencing on this spreadsheet.
Look
You
at
know
shared
what's
revenue.
So I'm
Third one down.
third,
Fourth.
Right under general other taxes.
general, I'll be right under. Oh, here. It's not a header, it's one of the items.
Yes.
Okay. And so, okay, in the description, I'm not finding what you were just saying. I see some amounts. I don't know what they mean.
Expenditure restraint program, ERP.
Expenditure.
That's what you get if you meet that. So your budget cannot be more than 2.98%.
2.98% of that amount
No, between budget years.
between budget years. I'm just saying, how would I know?
Otherwise, you lose that money. You increase it. So your net levy, construction, 0.98%. That's what that came out to. 0.979%. Difference of $3,800. That's what you can increase to. And then we're going to decrease in the debt service. So your total revenue maximum is $463,673. That does not include the EMT part. Next payment in lieu of taxes, that has stayed the same, $1,500 for pays. Taxes from water, utility, let's see, in '23 went up to $27,000, so I'm predicting it'll probably be the same unless we lower taxes significantly, but we start going in school, so I don't think it'll decrease too much. So kind of left it the same. Shared revenue, you'll see we get $18,549 for ERP, and then the supplemental of $45,765, and that's what needs to be spent on fire, police, works, EMS.
You know, I thought, are we gonna end up with a decrease in our shared revenue because we didn't spend as much on police this year?
No, because we didn't spend it in the other 3 areas. Fire, EMS, and public works.
Okay, so we're okay on that. Alright.
State personal property aid stays the same, video service provider aid stays the same, 2% dues went up a little bit from '23, so
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
the same as what we collected in '24. State computer aid stays the same, state transportation aid, we do not have that number yet, so I just kept it the same as '24. That will be updated by October meeting.
Okay.
Recycling grants pretty much stays the same. And then
Now, that recycling grant though, didn't we hear that our, like, what people are recycling, the poundage went down, and we're still gonna be okay?
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Okay.
That's one finger grab.
Okay.
So how does that affect going forward then, if we really don't know? Does that make us have to have more money to pay that then?
We wouldn't have the revenue if we didn't have enough people putting stuff in their recycling bin. So our revenue could be less, but we haven't been notified it's less yet. But it was a concern in a meeting that
Yeah.
people aren't putting enough in the blue bin, they're putting it in the wrong color bin.
Right.
So, okay, sorry, keep winding in.
Other state grants, EMS gets the LEA grant. Not exactly sure how much it's going to be, so I left it blank, but that's just transfer through and go straight to EMS, so I paid out. So we can do the budget resolution for that when it does come in, if they are going to continue with it. Class A licenses, we just have the one. Class B licenses, we have Grandma Mary's, the VFW, the coffee shop, and then Home Taylor does a half a year. Operator's license, pretty stable, average 15. Cigarette license, we have 2. Dog licenses, trying to get more people to license their dogs, so that's up a little bit. Stable. Other permits such as chicken permits, driveway permits, natural lawns, sign postings, those types of things.
Okay.
Building permits, usually don't put anything because I don't know how many permits we're gonna get, but you can put 500 if you'd like.
How much does it cost for building permits? Is it like $25 or something? Or is it
Minimum 100.
$100?
So building permits, and within there is anybody that does an improvement to their house, like if they wanna finish a basement, is fencing for yards in there and all of that?
We just get 10% of whatever he collects, he pays us, so. It's kind of an unknown amount.
And we had
So is
12,
that, I'm sorry, okay.
our year-to-date projected is 1,200. 2023, we had almost 4,400, but we had a lot of construction that year.
Yeah.
And is that 10% the $100, or he charges 100 and we get 10?
Correct, he charges 110. Zoning fees, that's for one zoning, I don't know if we're gonna have any or not, that's for a variance or rezone, those sorts of things, so it's a guess estimate. Court penalties and costs, we probably will have very, I left that blank, I don't think we'll bring much money in. Or just ordinances. General government includes copies, special assessment letters, publication fees. Law enforcement fees, I don't look at any more of those. Ambulance fees, trip, that's an open book depending on how much they send for collections, and then we collect through the tax intercept program through the state. And then we just transfer it to the EMS, so it's a transfer. Sidewalk replacements, I'm not sure what Rich has planned as far as what sidewalks he's going to do, and then the resident would have to pay a third of that back, that's what that would be for. Recycling revenue, we charge that to the residents under utilities, 13,000, park rental, use of the shelters, it's down because you don't charge for the field use,
And the cost for renting the shelter?
$25. Recreational revenue is for the archery fees, and then the banner and concession revenue. Sale of the soda pop and then the banners.
So banner concession revenue, we're still doing okay on that. So we are like seeking out and trying to still get those signs.
The new ones, yep. We still have a couple that need them done, but they may not do them anymore.
Okay.
Interest income, complete yes. We go high, we can go low. Do you think it's gonna go down? I don't know what the presidency is gonna bring.
And I couldn't tell you.
It is mine.
Well, I don't think they try to jump it up or down too much year over year. They don't want massive strikes, so, I mean, spikes, and so
I don't know, we've gone from 1 to 4 in 1 year, so.
3 points isn't what I'm
And
worried about.
now we're at 5, so is it gonna drop back down to 3?
What is
Gonna
the
drop
3
down
and the
to
5?
Percent, the APR and what banknotes are paying. But were we still doing the sweep on our stuff?
Yes.
And our sweep is at what?
5.14,
I mean, do we have any stuff in like other?
local government improvement, just 5.2, I think.
So some of ours is fixed. Some of the interest, not all of it.
No, it all fluctuates every month.
No.
So you can increase that if you like, or leave it the same, it's up to you.
But now the stuff that we were getting interest on, because we had some money put aside until we took a formal note. We already took the notes, right? So last year is not a really good gander of where we will be at all.
No, because we did have a couple extra million in there.
Yeah, so that's a really horrible estimate. That's probably close to right. I mean, maybe we get 15, but I don't think we're going to.
I guess I stay on the conservative side, but we can increase it, I guess, if we need more expensive. Yes.
I don't think we're gonna get any more though. We're setting ourselves up. Let's leave it. Because we have way less money in there now than what we had last year. Okay.
Your lease rent, that is for the US Cellular, the tower right next to the well house number 1.
Yeah.
It's a monthly, anticipating any insurance losses, sale of anything, donations as open-ended insurance dividends. They recommend we don't budget that because we never know year from year if you're actually going to get anything or not.
Okay.
And then the miscellaneous revenue is your welcome sign. And it's high because we got that reimbursement from COVID from 2020, so that's why that's so high. So it kind of throws that off. And then the reserves that you're going to utilize. And that's your total revenue. Any questions on revenue?
It's looking good.
Okay. Move to expenses. Village board. It's averaged out. Village president. Stays the same. FICA. Village board training, we have $200. Not sure if you want that increased or left alone.
For the village board training, like that's sending them somewhere to get training?
Yes. Or like government 101 or
Do we have like a new online course now?
any zoning, any of that kind of stuff.
Okay, but
But some of them are still like $10, $20.
okay, yep,
I
let's
think
leave
the
it.
one that we sent back right into was 75. So they all vary.
Alright,
Lead dues, they sent that goes up every year, so it's a set amount. Attorney, your guess. 5,000 is what we originally estimated last year. And we've increased that, so.
let's keep it at 5. Alright,
Clerk wages, that's increased at 4.5%, and that's divided by the 3 accounts, that's 50%. And that's all broke down, and all of that is broke down on page 7.
so let's go look at all that. We'll sign here now, page 7.
Public Works is on page 6.
Page 7. Oh. Oh, page 7 is how you break it all out. But where is the,
You're looking for it.
the before and after?
For,
When we did wage increases.
yeah, so that's just 2015 estimate. It's up 2,000.
I'm totally missing something. Okay. I don't have the sheet with where you were to where you are now, I think is where I'm confused.
Gotcha. 50,000. 225.
Okay. And then we did the target increase that we talked about. So that comes across. Oh, that's ETF. Oh, I see what it comes down here too. Okay,
Goes down to
wages.
the retirement system.
Yep, now I see the wages, the FICA. It's at the very bottom. Okay, page 7. So we have the wage of the FICA, the life insurance, the retirement cert, and it's the health stipend.
I budgeted what you recommended, so that can be changed.
Well, but the, I'm trying to think of how. Because we wanted,
On your side there, 1,043, and 80% was 834, 524, 5444. At the 80%,
and you did it at the 80%?
that is correct.
But, okay, but we're gonna have, this is really weird this year because we're gonna have a stipend so many months, but we wanna get one person in.
Yeah, but the 2 will have to decrease the last quarter. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So you should have enough.
but we're getting in on catastrophic and we wanted to help bridge the gap because we know it'll be unaffordable.
Right. But the other 2 employees will have to decrease their stipend.
But is it gonna be enough?
I think it would be.
interrupt your thought process, Melissa, but then can you just explain? I know that we're going to have one employee get onto the health insurance, but you're saying that the stipend will have to decrease for the other two? Why are they affected by that?
Because the state only allows a maximum stipend at $2,500.
per year. So to get into the Wisconsin health insurance plan, we have to go in on catastrophic coverage for the one person, or I call it catastrophic because it's the no experience rating, so it's
Right,
really
exactly.
expensive.
Right.
Terrible. The other employees though, then the state, because you're through their system, puts limits on what you can pay employees that don't take your insurance. So because it's assumed that only one person would want to sign up for really, really expensive insurance for 3 months. So those other employees, they're gonna have limits on what we can pay them the last 3 months. And is it a monthly stipend that they're gonna limit, so they won't look at what we already paid?
Correct.
So we're gonna be ceilinged on what we can give going forward once we enter in.
Okay, so how does the employee manage that? That's all I'm trying to think. If they're used to getting a certain amount, because it'll be more, right? They're getting a much higher. And then what, October, November, December, they're only getting how much?
It'll decrease from 800 down to 200.
Yeah, it'll be a $600 difference for 3 months.
Is that something that is appropriate for us to just assume that everyone will be fine with that? I mean, I'm just wanting to, you
We
know.
could budget and plan a bonus for the ones that
I'm just
don't.
saying, if they're paying for insurance, and then those last 3 months, they get only a,
I think you're absolutely right.
that's hard.
I think you're right, Becca, and I think the only way around that is to then maybe allow a bonus to cover that difference.
I just think we have to seriously take that into consideration, that is undesignated bonus for that. I mean, granted, you know, it's in good faith that we're moving into this.
Absolutely.
I
I think it's really important to offer the benefit and figure out how to fund it. It's just the hard part of all of what we're talking about now.
yeah.
And I know that Deneen had ran, now I'm looking for the insurance cost sheet.
Yes, correct.
Did you show it to me already, or did I have a copy? I can't remember which month. I'm back pretty far and I don't have it.
Did you get it before the last?
She showed me at one point. I think she had it printed. I don't have one. So we should all have one of those when we're doing this. As part of our packet. I think that's the only way around it though, would be to do a bonus.
Because you can't cut them.
Well, we obviously want to convince for insurance purposes, because your age depends on what you pay, or it doesn't matter the age of the person that you put in.
Doesn't matter age.
So we need to willing
That's a good thing,
volunteer. and-
He wants to be the guinea pig.
A willing volunteer to be the guinea pig, yes.
So what did you want to see?
Just the insurance rate sheet
Cost.
of what it's gonna cost. I probably have some copies of those made to do with our packet here. Okay, so,
Just go where you are comfortable with what you're doing, I'll come to you.
And that was just for individual, not family.
so we're shooting for 80%, because even at 80%, and she did some numbers for us on the side.
Yeah.
At 80%, it's 1,043, and I did this math somewhere. I backed into it. I know I did. Well, because this is 88%.
Right.
I have it on the side there.
Yes,
Yeah.
88% would be 917, 834 a month, and that must be how we got So when we did the stipend, you did it like for 12 months, or how did we do this?
Yes,
Because it's at, did we do the 834.54 times 12?
yes.
Oh, I see what we're doing, okay.
Because I figured you'd have that extra to cover. Does that make sense?
It makes sense what you did. So that's how you got to it, is you just did it as if we're funding it for the full 12 months, even though we are going to fund it 9 months normal stipend like we've been doing, and then go to this. But we had talked about putting an increase on the stipend prior to that, going up to going into it at finance. And what percentage did we say? Because we were gonna do a monthly.
You did. That's why I did just the full 12.
Okay.
Because keep in mind, in the following year, you're gonna have to cover that. If all three people take it.
Yes.
So you should, if you have some extra at the end of the budget year, you're gonna have to put that into 26. Supplement the increase.
So we probably do want to budget it as if we're paying it all year.
Correct. So that way it's in the budget for going forward.
But then
Does
this
that make
single
sense?
at 80%, we're doing a single at 80% at $834 a month, even though the insurance is gonna be on whatever.
No, you pay the lowest, and that's it. Any difference the employee would have to pay.
But we're only paying $834 in those 3 months. That employee's gotta pay like $1,000 a month on top of what we pay. Our,
First, you're looking at single. If they take family, it would be yes.
okay, but which one is the one that is like
The higher rate one.
which one did you say it is? The,
Highlighted.
oh, that's, oh, the highlighted. So,
Oh, you
The
can't see
difference.
highlighted, sorry.
it's,
So that's the amount that in total is the 902 then? And so we would pay the 834, the employee would pick up the difference.
Yes.
pick up the difference, but if the employee elected a family plan for 3 months, they would have to pay more.
That's,
Okay. This would get them in the door.
that's correct.
And then by getting one person in, then the following year, everybody could be in.
That's correct.
But we have to sign paperwork by September or whatever to get in for October.
We have to sign
August
as of
is-
July, 1st of
Yeah.
August to get into October.
Okay.
And then it's open enrollment in September for January.
All right, it's all making sense. Okay, I like what you did because this makes sense. We're doing it for 3 months, but we're budgeting enough to be covered. And then we just need to talk about, because the stipend is, it's $500 a month right now, outside of this. Right?
I did not put it in separately. So this one is included in this. Because you wouldn't get the stipend the following year
Correct.
if all three took it.
So, but we're still going to pay a stipend up until we do the change.
Correct.
And we're currently doing $500 a month stipend.
Correct.
So we need to discuss as a board if we're gonna do slightly more, or we're keeping it at 5%. I mean, at the 500 a month. Because we talked about how insurance has gone up so much.
Continues to climb.
So do we want to do a adjustment on our insurance stipend prior to that? For what we plan to pay towards insurance? Do we make it $550 a month prior to when we do this?
Because then in October, the whole thing switches.
The whole thing switches in October, and then we would need to plan, I think, a bonus for the employees that aren't being switched, so that everybody's made whole. But we still need to talk about, for those 9 months out of the year, 500 doesn't go very far anymore with the cost of insurance. So do we raise it to 550 a month up until October? And I don't know what type of an increase that would be. $4 increase is like another $20 a month. So it'd be more than 4 then.
10%.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty big jump. But, so maybe 520. It's just really hard to do the math because it's like, are you paying it once a month or are you paying it twice a month that you pay the?
26 pay periods.
You divide it over 26, so they're paying it out twice a month, so
No, I take that back, 24. There's 2 that I don't get. It's 24.
so we need a number that's easy to divide out when we do paychecks.
And you get an even number.
Make it 520, so it's a 4% increase, and then it would be 235 a check up until switchover date. Okay, we're gonna increase stipends by 4%. I gotta note that in my thing.
Sheets, 50, is it?
4%,
4%, okay.
which means
Insurance,
$20. Yep.
stipend increased 4% to $500
And that's for 9 months.
per month. Yep. Okay.
And then at the 10th month, it goes to like 200 plus whatever the bonus is that we're gonna create. Is that how that works then?
Yeah, is it 200 a month at that point?
Or the
Or is
difference,
it
right?
250? Yeah. So I'm gonna have to figure out how much of a bonus to calculate.
It'll be the difference of when we're paying the 834, right?
Right.
Goes to $166.67.
166.67 per month. That's it.
Stipend.
So $1 is 166.67 per month
And that's at October.
after going to Wisconsin. Okay. So when we're all done, do you mind if we make copies so that we just all have one of these in our packets? Okay. All right, so now I know how that ties in. And then, oh, I see what you did. Annual cost. Water sewer, how much goes out? Okay. Do you get this sheet, Becca? So this is WS stands for water sewer.
Okay. I was gonna say, what does this stand? That's who pays them. That's what fund they get paid out of.
Yes, so we
Okay.
divide it out over budgets.
Mhm.
So, and this code here, this is Wisconsin
Yes.
retirement system. Okay. And then she's showing how it gets allocated. So annual is this, and then where their monies get allocated. And it's, these two, it's based upon their hours that they work. They charge time to the different funds based upon what they're working on. And we kind of go by prior year on where we are current year and where we plan it to be.
Okay.
But that's what this sheet does, and then this is the employee trust fund, that's pension, life, health. She broke it out for us, and then all of those numbers, why this sheet matters, is then this flows into our lead sheets here
Okay.
on how we fund the pieces out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I understand that page now.
Can I just ask, where does the bonus piece get looped into? Just as a reminder, we can put a note.
I think we probably need to plan and figure out it's gonna be considered a wage. And probably needs to be added to the wage line. So Janine, are you gonna be the employee that tries to get into WRS for us?
Yes.
So we probably need to calculate for Rich and Troy that difference for 3 months, so we know that it's 520 minus 166.67, so that's 353.33 per month. 353.33 per month times 3 months. That's $1,059.99.
Okay, say that again, 353.
Yep, 353.33, and I'll double check my math, make sure I didn't mess it up. 520 minus 166.67 gets us to $353.33.
And that's for what?
That's the difference in stipend.
Okay.
So then we take the last 3 months of the year, so 353.33 times 3 months is $1,059.99. And we, I think, plan that as a bonus and part of the wages. But that's gonna directly affect, do bonuses, when you pay a bonus out, that goes into WRS and everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll see some other numbers tick as a result of this. So for both then Rich and Troy, we need to plan that. And add that to our worksheet. Good idea, Becca. Okay. I got papers going everywhere. This is what happens.
So that ain't make copies then.
I don't know if that 8 is my 8 or that
No.
number.
I'm over here, I didn't go and do this. Didn't expand that way.
Okay. All right, so now we're on page 2. And we were down to the wages for clerk, and so all that all falls down off those other sheets.
Wages for elections, down to 2 elections next year.
Good.
Elections others will have the ice machine, ballots and supplies.
Okay.
Village hall office supplies. Postage keeps going up every year.
You gotta buy a lot of forever stand.
Something. Notice ads kind of kept it the same. I'm not sure, depending on how many ordinances, what types of things that you're gonna have to publish.
What's it cost to publish that in the paper? And we have to post things like that.
Depends on how many words.
What's it cost per word then? Is it kind of like a,
They don't break it down, but every time it's different. Accounting, auditing, $9,325 for your audit. Tax program is $725, and civic is $6,000 divided by 3, so $2,000 coming from general.
And we didn't, that 93.25 for our audit hasn't increased? Or do we think it's gonna go up?
It did increase a little bit.
Okay, so that is the new number.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if civic is going up or not, I haven't received anything, so. Assessment of property, you haven't approved this, but I saw this quote, it's $5,500, so that decreased a little bit.
Good.
Village hall, other, this is kind of, I left it the same, but this is kind of to you, this is, we've been very fortunate with your furnace and AC unit. When I first started, your furnace broke down 3 times, had to have that fixed, and I said, well, it's getting up there. So you may want to start budgeting money to get that replaced. It's about 20 years old, 20 plus years. And then the AC didn't work this year, so they came and they're like, You should probably consider getting that replaced. That is a 1988 AC unit. No longer make parts for that. So he came and basically said he would recommend doing it this year because they're changing the Freon. And the change of the Freon on our room is too small, doesn't have the ventilation system, so you'll have to install a whole new ventilation system. It's gonna cost you thousands of dollars. So if possible, he recommends purchasing the supplies this year and doing labor next year if you can't afford to do it this year.
I think we have space in our budget for this year to do it this year. Can you put it on finance?
For October.
Finance? Yeah, Rich stopped me in the road and I told him to tell you to put it on both finance and board for October for board discussion.
I was gonna bring it up to see if you wanted to put it there or on.
How big of a hit are we talking for parts and labor?
For both units or just the one?
Both.
15,000.
We'll look, but I think it's still available this year and we should just do it rather than raising taxes and whatever.
So is that
That's a board
actually-
discussion.
Is that actually we're intending to replace them in not,
Brand new unit.
and it's central air, correct? So it's the, you're saying AC unit.
Yeah. Central air and our heat, like our furnace is still original equipment too, right? It's like 80s,
No, it's early 2000s.
but it's still, okay, it's 24 years old.
Close to it. He gave it another 5 years and they probably would get rid of more parts.
Okay.
That's the life expectancy. In 19, they said, you'd be left with maybe a couple of years. We've not gotten rid of it.
So you opposed to wearing like a hat and winter gloves to work every day?
I got electric heat now, so I'm good.
Okay.
I have availability.
So that goes under village hall other, those, is that what that?
No, it would go under capital, actually. Technology is IT, email, website, backup, and then I'm not sure what you want to budget for that VC3 in capital for the third year,
I think
7,000.
it's 7 in total, but I think we should be budgeting so much each year so when year 3 comes up, we have it and it's not like a massive amount all in 1 year.
They have sent a bill for it already. Not sure if they have to pay for it up front, but I haven't heard that you even got a grant, so I'm not paying it.
They sent a bill?
But when you read the agreement, 5-line piece, it's stated that they would pre-bill you.
They pre-bill and then what, you just pay it at year 3?
I'm waiting to hear that we got the grant, so I have not heard anything.
Let's flag a part in capital for it and
You want to
then
divide
hopefully for our final meeting,
we divide by 3 then? Is that what your plan is?
because then we have the money in year 3, but then year 4 is gonna be really interesting because then you're gonna jump that budget item up quite a bit. If that's the same number going forward.
Because we'll have 3 years. You know, like a smaller portion because it's 3 years accumulating for it. And then the
Not
next-
such a big jump on year 4 if we budget a little more towards it. We can consider that.
And it's
Because
not
we can
like-
put it into a capital account for once we get there. So which capital account down towards the bottom are we throwing that beautiful thing in? Or are we gonna make one for it?
Technology. You would currently have 1,700 in there. That's like the server or computer crashes or something, so we have a little bit in there, but not a lot.
I guess, where is this, what account is the technology capital? Oh, down
Way
the
at the
bottom.
bottom.
Okay, we have 1,700. Okay, so we're gonna down here. weird to put the, what do we call the letter for that?
VC3.
To budget. Okay. So that's good. Right.
Ready to go on?
Yep, we're ready.
Ordinance revision, we do that every year. Pay $500 just to have it on the website, and then we pay per page, depending on how many ordinances are updated. Property insurance and workman's comp insurance decreased. Those are the numbers that you approved at the board meeting. And then fire protection are the numbers that Karen provided. That should be which haven't been approved yet, but I just threw in the numbers so that we had them. Looks like fire is at 26%.
Yep.
Increase from 26,724 to 33,266. So I put in at 33,266. Fire department dues is just a transfer from the revenue to the expense account. Hydrant rental stays the same until you do a water rate increase. And then police, contracted services, you can put in more if you think you need more hours. That's just based on your 4 hours. And then I think a couple extra for some events.
Okay.
And then animal control, in case they have to take a dog or a cat to the Humane Society, we have that contract that we have to pay for. The crime fighter software that we have to keep for the public records, and then the ambulance increase for the employees. And they gave a 4.16% increase. And that came to 35% for us at $36,292.90. So I plug those numbers in for now.
But we did notice that we're not gonna fund it, so I'm only doing those at 25%. So change that to only 25%.
Can you explain what you're doing here?
The EMT wages,
Mhm.
instead of 35%, we're not agreeing to that. We're only agreeing to pay them equalized value,
What
so
does it say
25%.
there? I know that we've said before that that's what we're supposed to, we have to do, but I can't find.
It's
where
an
it states
operating
that.
expense, so it should come out of operating income. Should come out of revenue before it comes out any other way as an assessment. And our agreement for funding capital was at 30%. So if they want money towards capital, then we need to have a line item towards a fire truck and fund 30% of it. Not 35, not 40.
So, I guess, like, where is all that stated? Because the reason why I ask is I have residents who are saying to me, where does it state that we have to be held to this equalized value?
It's in our original agreement that we have, that it talks about the funding.
No, I understand that, but I've been told in our meetings that we have to do equalized value. And if it's just in our agreement, that means that we determined that over the years. And I want to know so that I can point to where it is in the statutes or wherever it is that says we have to do this. Because there is some dispute on whether or not we really want us to be held to that 25%. Especially from a fire board meeting, we're talking about the importance of this and the fact that we're looking at, we're probably going to have to be planning for part-time EMSs, for that staff. So
I'm not opposed to
it's
having
just-
additional staff, I'm opposed to paying on calls, especially when they want to throw out everything on the highway. So they're like, oh, well, let's do it on calls per service, but let's take this out, this doesn't count, this doesn't count. Well, how do you determine whether it's a call then? It's too subjective.
I'm not sure that, I guess I need some additional information on how that's being subjectively divvied out, and that what we're doing is not really, I'm confused.
So isn't it you want to go to the original agreement and what the percentage is?
Prefer to follow the original agreement
So
and not
that's
a
it.
sub-agreement.
It went up in a sub-agreement.
I
So
understand
they
that, but
want
there's
get rid of the
rationale
sub-agreement.
for that.
No, not really.
There is rationale for that. You may not like it, you may not want to accept it, but there is rationale for it.
But it's not good rationale.
But is it accurate? That's what I'm saying. I mean, if we, from what
Accurate to
I'm,
what?
to who's using it, is the village getting more of the EMS calls than the town is?
But isn't it equalized value? It's
I,
equalized value for the fire department.
is it? Is it equalized? See, is it?
Yeah, fire department's equalized value.
The only thing they increased was when they went to EMTs, then they pulled it out and made a whole different thing.
Meso district uses population, which I thought
Yeah,
was interesting too.
That is interesting.
But it's kind of equals the equalization, so.
I just, because there is dispute about it, so it's like, let's make sure that we're really being transparent and clear. So that as we're moving forward, we're not the big bag village making this determination. We're doing it transparently with clear reasons why. That's all I'm
Because it's
asking
supposed
for.
to be based on equalized value.
But where does it state that by law? Now, you're saying
It's
the
in the
agreement.
original agreement.
But okay, but what is that original agreement? I'm not trying to be in your face about it. What I'm saying is for months now, I've been hearing pushback on it. I've been trying to look for where this equalized value comes up. I've had residents looking, saying, I can't find it.
But
So-
if you're gonna carve out one item, why don't you do an entire budget that way then? Why are you carving out just one item?
Well, and these are the things that we need to be asking.
But then it's
Well, that's what
self-serving
she's done.
because then,
But I mean-
okay, we're not gonna cover anything on the highway though. Do you know how many highway calls we have?
I've never heard anybody say that, so I'm not saying you're not telling me the truth.
And I sit in a
I'm
meeting
just-
and then the 3 town people be like, well, we agreed to do this. Well, that's great that the 3 of you on the fire agreed to pull them out. I don't see anywhere in that agreement that they said some calls don't count.
Well, is that what
Well,
the documentation is showing?
This is just a budget, so we can't,
Yeah,
really
you're off
discuss
track.
the agreement,
Well, I'm
so
sorry
we're
about
just,
track, but we do need this.
yes, but that's at a board
transparent.
level. This is just budget, so if she wants 25%, we'll put 25% in. We don't have the agreement till it's final till November, so those numbers can change.
So then how do we get it onto the board agenda so we can get more information about this?
We're waiting on the town of Arena
To do what?
to provide us their agreement. They
Well,
apparently.
but why are we not being able, maybe
We
this
did
is
send
like
it, we
the
did
public
send
safety.
them, we
Them
did
an
send them
agreement.
agreement.
Off topic.
No,
Off topic, we're off topic.
excuse me.
No, we're off topic.
We should
We're
have a
off topic.
public safety, Kate,
So I put
We're off topic, we have to
25,925.
stick with, we have to
Back
stick
in.
with.
hang on and let
Back
me
in.
close it. Let's
If
have a
you
public
read,
safety
if you read the
committee
public
meeting.
safety committee meeting ordinance, fire and EMS is not part of that.
Then why do we have it? Because we don't have a police department. So let's
Well,
review
I'm
that.
kind of in agreement with
Off
you.
the topic, budget.
You know what?
Okay.
All you had to say, folks, is this is a good point. We will pull that information together. Let's move on. There's a concept. Go ahead.
25,925. Just a decrease.
Okay, so-
25%.
So this, the original is 36,293, and we're decreasing it to, I'm sorry,
25,925
5,925.
is the 25% of the total amount. So the next part is Public Works, and their breakout is on page 4. This went through Public Works, and it's recommended onward to you guys. They did some modifications. The only change that we have made, which we've got numbers in for today, is the chip sealing. Went up a little bit from 40,000 to 41,210. Crack filling was 5,000, and then if you want to do that, and then Village Edge he got two quotes. One was for a wedge the sides, or you can do an overlay, and that's for what we took out of the village edge portion, because it was costing too much to do that the whole village edge past the railroad going out towards Frontier. Is that right?
Oh, this is,
So Scott is recommending just to do an edging, which is just the edges of the road.
that are so crumbling apart.
Yeah, and leave the center, or you can do a complete overlay. The difference between the two was like $3,000. It's like, you might as well just budget for the whole overlay.
So what is an overlay? What does that mean?
They just put the blacktop over the top.
So they don't crunch anything up, they're just gonna put new stuff over the top?
That is correct.
So does that somehow reinforce the sides when they do that, so it's not gonna re-crumble all over again with the heavy trucks?
He just said the township does a lot of the wedging, where they just do the sides, and don't leave the center. So I guess it's a choice. And I said, well, we'll budget for the more, and then if we have to change it in the October meeting, we can. We have to cut costs. So those were the additional amounts that I added to the budget from what Public Works had, just because he had the numbers today.
Engineering.
But those can be cut if need be.
Chemicals, like miscellaneous utilities, chemicals is way more than the prior year budget.
That's for the mosquito spray.
Oh, yep, okay, that makes sense. And then tools went up.
Yeah, Rich said he was tired of using his own. The village needed to get their own tools.
Okay, so we're gonna have a way to keep track of those after we buy them.
They are initialing them and leaving them there at the shop.
Alright. Then, okay, clothing. Boots. And the wages are all from the streets and stuff come out of that spreadsheet. Street signs. We're planning to do quite a few street signs. Are we over this year on our street signs?
No, so. I don't remember what he said last week.
It appears that we increased our street signs by like $500.
Let's see it. I can't remember his reason.
We're at 1325 and 2030. There's no actual on 2024.
I think he used his budget for something else.
So he probably has some to do that he didn't get to do.
Yeah. That's what it is. He'd like to get a new truck, but he realizes it's very expensive, so he's recommending at least $30,000 to put back into capital for that. Mowers due to be replaced.
Okay, go back, so how much do we have in the capital towards the truck now?
$10,000.
Street machinery capital.
Street machinery capital.
Something like that.
Is that street machinery other?
Yeah, it's street machinery capital.
How is that so low?
What page is that on, Kathy?
I thought we budgeted a bunch this year.
18,958.
So we have the 5,900 plus the 18, so we're at like 23,000 right now.
Where are you finding that? I don't see street.
Capital.
It's
Oh,
down,
on the
it's towards
bottom.
the very bottom, it's on page 3.
Yeah.
Sorry.
At the bottom.
So that is
That's
the
the
18. Yep, I see the 24,000 you said?
51,122.
We have 51,000, oh, but that's with the 30.
No.
Oh.
That's with the 18,958.
Oh, so we're at 51,000 towards the truck now?
Yes, at the end
Where
of
was
this
he,
year.
man?
We have 51,000, how much?
$122.
And what did we think this truck was gonna cost us to replace?
A lot.
85.
Something like 150,000 if you all together.
Is
So-
there anything you need, Kathy, can you show the box and stuff?
I don't know if that's right or wrong.
Wow, okay, it's
So
But
what,
it's down here in the capital,
okay, where
Oh.
is
And
and it's right,
It's,
right there.
I see
Street
the
machine
machine
capital.
capital.
street machine
So
capital.
that's,
and I
So
think,
right now we have the.
is there a missing digit on the
59.28.
balance?
That's it?
Yeah.
Is that what's wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what are you talking about?
There's a missing digit on the balance. It shows 5928, but the balance must have been something else.
51,122.
51,122.
Okay,
We did get that right.
is what we have, so I'll just cross this out.
Currently.
Okay,
And then we want to put 30 more thousand to it next year.
so that only brings us at 80,
30,000
but
is what he's requesting.
will this truck make it for another year? Like, how old is the truck?
Requesting.
We have 2018, 2015, and a 2001 blue truck. It's old.
Blue bond.
and we do use a skid steer to help with snow removal right now, but it is, yeah. We definitely need the 30. We're never gonna get there. Oh, and a new mower. Do we have any money towards the mower?
Yes.
So he's saying 14,500 towards a mower. But what does the mower cost and what do we have now?
14,500. Is it more?
Because that would come out of our street machinery capital. Okay, so he's asking us to just fund the mower. Okay,
But not taking it out of capital.
yep, so the capital can stay towards the truck.
Yeah.
Okay. Tires. So did we get our grapple this year that we had budgeted?
Yes.
And what is a power broom? Oh, that's like a sweeper for the roads. Is
Yes.
that what that is?
Yes. That he can
And
attach
that's on page
to,
4.
that he can attach to a Skidsteer.
So when we get this chip sealing or whatever.
We tried to find one to rent, and we had one to fit ours.
Okay.
So
Oh, I see.
Troy has been doing it by hand.
Okay.
Yeah, he came and shoveled dirt off my road. Because every time it rains, it covers the road.
Alright.
Skidsteer replacement is that lease,
Mhm.
be an annual thing.
So chip sealing is when they basically do the whole road and they put the stuff on and they put that tarry crap with all the gravelly type stuff?
Mhm.
And crack filling is what, just the lines they do?
Yeah, they just fill in cracks.
Okay.
Usually have to do that before you chip seal.
Then we have cold patch. Base material gravel, attachment rental. Why is our attachment rental so much more this year?
Because he needed to clean out that ditch again. FEMA ditch or something. We have to rent the doohickey thing to get in there and do that.
Okay.
It's the major doohickey thing. I think we did it in 2020 or 21. Where they cleaned it out to keep the water flowing.
Sidewalk repair, okay. Salt. What's all in miscellaneous?
Goes everything. You name it goes there.
I see an increase in that too.
I'm not sure what you had in mind.
Is that not some of the mosquito?
No,
That
that's
sounds like way up
chemicals.
there.
Okay.
So I wanna know about the miscellaneous, and where are we year to date on miscellaneous this year?
Wow.
I think it's under snow. Oh, so that's for his, like if the salter breaks down or those front blade edge pieces and
No, that's what that
if
is?
he hits like the manholes and breaks
Okay.
the joint things, those all have to get fixed and,
Okay.
you know how accidents happen.
So that's under snow control?
That's under snow, yeah.
And we got all the weeds. Street lighting doesn't change, garbage collection doesn't change. Landfill doesn't change. Recycling doesn't change. Alright.
So those numbers are 1, 2, page 2 and 3.
Look at how you just go right down the line. Very nice to me.
You can go into parks, and parks is on page 5. Here they add in a temporary pickleball court to replace 2 broken park swings. They also added an infield line if you're interested in doing that. That got pulled from last year's budget. Because of the cost.
2,000 in trees?
And they took down a couple of trees, I guess, he wants to put more trees back in the park.
Why is the archery park double?
He has to buy those covers for the sacks or whatever. Do that every other year.
Okay.
That comes out of the archery money.
Swings. Ooh, yowza, that infield line was really pricey.
Yeah, and that was a year ago, it's a price estimate that we got, you requested, so that's probably gone up too. But you said you wanted to do it right, you wanted the cost estimate on it, so.
Cost estimate, yeah. I know there was complaints of big chunks on those fields. I don't know if that happened again this year or not, but 2 years ago there was complaints about like stuff was coming up, whatever line was on there, there was chunks coming up through the line on our fields. And how many teams do we have playing here now? We have home talent,
Really?
we have the Little League kids. Do we budget it over 2 years? What do we do? It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Explain what it is.
It's, this infield lime is what goes on the diamond, like,
To show it,
it's what they plan. It's what they,
so it actually goes over the whole
field.
field.
And both of our fields are needing lime again.
And the line keeps the weeds down? Like what is?
I don't know if it necessarily keeps the line, but it's what they run and play and slide in.
So
And
it
I
kind of
don't
gives it-
know
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
what got put on, but I get the impression last time when we relined the fields, it's probably not what should have been put on there.
Oh.
And so we're getting complaints of chunks coming up, and it's a safety issue. I don't know, I was down there for one game this year, I didn't see chunks this year, but we do eventually need to be lining the fields. It's a maintenance issue. Wow, that's a lot of money. Would half of that do one? Let's ask Rich more about that number.
Also get a current estimate.
Yes, and current estimate. Current estimate, how much for one is what we're gonna ask.
It's always cheaper to do both at the same time, you know what I mean, as far as
Yes,
labor and-
but get a current estimate, decide whether we put into capital towards it and save up and do it next year, or how we wanna do it. Good grief. Because we have a lot of big items in this budget this year.
So anyway, those numbers transfer over on page 3.
I heard about our toilets.
Yeah, he's looking at his budget, he might be able to get those in this year, so,
Okay, so that's a maybe this year?
yes.
Okay.
Do we have a problem with that color?
Yeah, they're falling off the floor. They're constantly leaking.
Is this at the park inside the building? They're just old.
They're like 80s, 20s, yeah. Nothing lasts forever.
Wear and tear.
Yeah.
Fish stocking, fuel, utilities, okay. All right, that's all the parks.
And then you have your capital. And your fixed is your principal and interest, so it's down about 4,000, not quite. $3,700. That's it. So I have a credit of $63,673 for your budget. Left over with, that's everything included that you guys have mentioned, so.
Are we going to think about the thing I asked Rich to get on culverts and ditch?
We can bring that back in October when he gets those numbers.
Okay.
We still have another meeting in October and then approval in November, so we have 2 meetings,
Okay.
and then you can change it. Hate to estimate and then, you know, completely off,
Okay.
if that's okay. One point I just wanted to bring up is, I know everybody wants a reduction in your taxes, who doesn't? But keep in mind, with the reduction of your general property tax levy, decreasing that also decreases your TID amount that you bring in to pay for those loans for the water and sewer. And we have a set amount set by Ellers that we have to bring in to meet those loan obligations, or your utilities will have to make that up. So that number is $135,500. If you decrease by the 60,000, I just plugged in that number to try to come up with numbers. You would decrease that top number, general property tax, to $403,673. So that would reduce your TIF by $13,836.
Are you on page 8?
No, these are just my numbers.
Oh, okay.
These are just my numbers. I'm just telling you the facts, to see what you guys wanna do. You guys can think about what you wanna do. To equal it out, so it equals $135,500, you would have to decrease your levy to $435,500. Which you would have to spend another $35,500 to meet that.
Our levy with the current number is what?
So, you know, the general property tax, $463,673. That's the max you can go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the bottom number down here is 63,000 that you still have as a credit.
Yep.
See that?
Yep.
Where's that at?
Very bottom of the page.
Page 3.
Oh, page 3, okay. Yeah, okay.
So you need to get that number down to 35,500. So you have $28,173 yet to spend.
How much?
$28,173. If you want to keep the TIF steady to make its annual payments, you have to bring in so much income. And keep in mind your net construction, where you have that development, that is pretty much done. So you only have a couple houses left with empty lots. So your net construction is going to continue to decrease, so you're going to have less income coming in. So basically your property tax levy is going to be straight lined. So you won't have any extra money coming forth. Well, you may have $1,000, but with everything going up, $1,000 isn't going to be much income. So keep that in mind, that you're going to be, unless you do a referendum or you take out loans, that will be your only two other options to increase your budget. So I did some numbers just to break it down into how much money would you actually save? Because everybody wants to know how much money we're going to save, right? So if you do the full 60,000, you'd save about $1.34 per thousand. If you do what's recommended to keep the TIF levy accurate, it's about 64.4 cents per thousand.
Excuse me, Denise, what did you say the TIF reduction was like 13,000 something?
For that would, if they just chose to do the 60,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and if we kept the TIF, it was how much? 64 cents per thousand?
Yes. Savings to the taxpayer. So like for yours, you'd save $170.47, Melissa. And Becca's would be, right, let's see, 64 cents would be $88.74. And if you did the 60,000, it'd be $185.18.
We can get savings on my taxes.
Using 24's value, not last year's tax value.
Hey, I'm still in a meeting.
So that's just an estimate, it'd be about double the savings. But you'd still be saving something. But I just wanted to throw that out there. So I know everybody wants to save money, but it could affect you in the long run.
And so right now, taxes are what the taxes are. This is if we were to reduce, right?
Well, right
Right
now
now
we're
we're
looking at a
reducing-
tax reduction. We're just figuring out how much of a reduction. What do we do? So,
This may be crazy, but is there any way that that can work along or balance, offset the wastewater increase that we're gonna be implementing to people?
it's a different fund,
It's a
unfortunately.
different fund. It's like 3 separate businesses.
I understand that, thank you. Why would we reduce?
You are reducing.
Why are we reducing? Just
We-
bear with me.
Well, we took out the police, that's what we're. People want to see a reduction.
People want to see their taxes go down. That's what they've been saying.
Yeah, and thank you, I understand that now, because we reduced that, or we eliminated that, so then we shouldn't be requiring.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
But if you reduce too much, it's really gonna hurt you,
because how do we make everything that way?
because you're not gonna make it up. I'm sure water and sewer customers don't wanna pay for solar projects.
Could we keep it as is and have a projected EMS part-time employee fund that we need to be anticipating and preparing for? And be open about that's a shift, and we
Well,
don't
they
lose
didn't
our
put anything in the budget for part-time.
but we know that's coming. I mean, can we put it in ours in anticipation for what?
Well, it's just a
Our
workshop, I mean, we have to wait till we get an agreement anyway, so we really have time for the
Does that
October. I'm
make
just throwing it
sense?
out there to let you think about it until October. So you can decide what you wanna do, if you wanna put more in capital, what type of expenditures you wanna plan for.
If we do take this reduction, how is it gonna raise the thought?
So how big of a hit to our TIF is it?
Yeah.
Well, we have 10 years to pay that off early. 10 years. So we have a balloon payment the 10th year at 1.7 million. So 13,000 times 9, you'd be short.
So it's 13,000 a year is how it will affect us.
13,836
At the end.
per year,
Per
per
year.
years.
So it costs us 13,000 a year if we go below it.
You might as well say 14, it's closer to 14,
14
for 9 years. Unless you get a lot of building going up with our subdivision or something,
Yeah, if we decrease the full 60, it costs us 14,000. Of TIF money. Just 14,000.
but, wow.
That's a lot.
No, I'm just saying, because you were saying for 9 years.
So then we need to figure out.
It varies every year.
True.
I'm just saying what Ellers had estimated and predicted, so that we can pay it off in 10 years. Because that's your expenditure time period for your TIF. So if you don't have the money in 10 years, then your water and sewer will have to be the difference.
And then our water and sewer goes
If your
up.
water and sewer gets
So, okay, so how do we go forward with that? How do we determine, how do we figure that out?
Well, we'll finish getting all of our other numbers in the
Yeah.
budget, and then we'll know the real number that,
We were the mess with it, okay.
but some people will see a savings. It won't be no savings. There still will be at least some of a decrease on their bills.
correct. And whether you'll see it or not, because county goes
You
up.
think
school
River
goes
Valley's
up.
gonna increase theirs again, so we don't see
They
it at
do
all?
every year, so you probably
No.
won't see anything.
County and sewer will take the biggest hit.
It's a good starting point. That's what this always is. We're not done.
Well, October, I think, our next meeting. We'll have more final numbers and.
Thank you for the information, Denise. So we're on item, well, okay, any other budget for now? We're obviously not done. This is just our first running stab at it. Any other?
And I just included the tip, so. Which is page 8.
Oh, did I? I missed that.
That page 8, you put up.
Which I'm hoping everything is paid off by the end of this year, so it's a pretty simple budget for 2025. Anything else you want prices for, or anything else that you wanted to add or thought we needed?
was looking through, I highlighted those few things. But I brushed over them.
So update the health stipends.
Yep, we need, and we need,
Capital for BC three.
yep, we need to add the bonus amount, so you already put those in?
Ask Rich about the lines. We'll add ditch numbers. Anything else?
Yep. So yeah, we don't have any of that in there yet even. So, alright.
Is there anything else you want in plan?
I want gold edging along my driveway. No, there's nothing else. Alright, I'll take a motion to adjourn. So, Kathy? Kathy. Thank you. Second is Becca Raven. So we have a motion by Kathy and a second by Becca Raven. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries at 7:27 p.m.
Thank you for reading through all your.
Yeah, thanks for getting all this laid up again.
So then we will figure out when we meet again.
Yeah, I just tried to knock everything off.
We're gonna take us for the third Wednesday.
Oh, I have that on here. Our next meeting is October 23rd at 6 p.m.